Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on 105.5 The Team in Rochester. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by the Teddy Bear 2 himself, Mr. Nick Steblenko.
Donald, you found another nut, didn't you? You blind squirrel, you found another nut this past weekend.
I wasn't even going to bring it up since it happened so long ago, but yes, I did. I think I destroyed you on Friday.
You did not destroy anybody. Get out of here. We're not even entertaining that kind of talk.
You know what? We buried the lead here. You went off into some other tangent. We'd like to welcome back SFL CEO Zach Stanley from his brocation.
It's a privilege to be back with you guys. I missed you very much.
Oh, that's so sweet. We didn't have sweetness when
I always do. I miss the show. I miss being on and doing some of my rants that I like to do. So,
well, go ahead. No, do you have any off the top of your head?
Well,
we need some rants.
you can imagine how difficult it was for me not to be here to talk about the NBA Finals. It was literally all I could think about was that I was not going to be on the radio in all my glory.
Well, it's a good thing you weren't on the radio because we all had it very, 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 very wrong. We all said there's absolutely no way the series was going to end in 5 games or less. It did. We all sounded stupid.
Well, at least we had the winner.
We all had. I believe you and I had the Spurs.
I
don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember who you picked. That's
well, no, it's
that.
just another chance to kick me. You got a shot at me. You're like, well, I'm just gonna take a shot at Nick.
Well,
here.
Nick had the
Quick
Thunder,
shot.
and they weren't even there.
Well, you had the Clippers. I don't want to hear it. Get out of here. I had the Spurs over the Heat from the beginning. I'm gonna say this a million times.
John's the man, guys.
I am.
Everybody's got to understand. John's the man.
John had actually 2 NBA brackets, and one of them came through.
And one of them came through, and that was the one.
Right.
Yeah, the other one actually had Milwaukee against Phoenix with Phoenix winning. So
don't try to save face.
Oh, get out of
it's
here!
It's the truth.
You are the worst human being.
He called
alive.
it his dark horse bracket.
Yes, exactly. It's like an NCAA bracket, but the teams are actually not in the playoffs.
Right.
That kind of happens. All right, today on the Star Fantasy League Show, we got plenty going on as always. Zach is back, so there's going to be lots of banter to go on. So we have to have a spirited Giles mailbag, of course. But we are leading off the show with our pitching tiers because on Monday, it's interesting. There's always a lot of teams going. Today, it seems like there's a lot less than normal. Aren't there 15 games on Monday? Almost every Monday?
Normally, there's actually a lot fewer games on Monday.
Yeah, Monday's kind of an off day.
Well, never mind that conversation. I'm going to go back into my vault.
John's the man.
Yeah, exactly.
It actually seems like Monday's getting there's like increasingly less games as the season goes on Mondays.
What's the deal?
I don't know, but we're edging towards All-Star break, so we got to get in everything we can.
Yeah, because we are going to be on the radio just talking to each other for 30, 45 minutes a day, right?
Yeah.
It's the All-Star break. What is there to talk about?
NFL?
Yay. 3 months away.
Hockey?
No.
We can talk about hockey.
All right, let's get into it. We got Monday's pitching tiers to talk about. I believe there are, 11 matchups going on, 10 matchups?
We can talk about Wimbledon.
No.
And the British Open.
No, we cannot. All right, so our tiers are split up into $15,000 and over on StarFantasyLeagues.com, $10,000 to $15,000, and $10,000 and under. Today we actually have more than one person in the top tier, so that's exciting.
Yeah, no, that's a big difference from last week.
Yeah, we had one. We had Steven
we had
Strasburg, and that's it?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, so this week it's Chris Sale, Felix Hernandez, Zach Greinke, and John Lackey. I love all 4 of those names on paper, but I don't love all 4 matchups.
Bunch of studs at the top here, but I hope you're not going Lackey out of this group, Nick.
No, not this time. Felix Hernandez is the man. He's the king. And Boston has been god-awful in the past 2 weeks. So
hey, they woke up the other night, but that was
last night.
One-day thing.
Yeah, they dropped 3 out of 4 to Oakland. Last night they got lucky that Ortiz hit another one in the 10th inning.
And it's not often in recent years that you see an over-under of 6 in a Boston Red Sox game.
That's true.
This is very true. Although, I mean, these guys, I don't know. I have Felix and Lackey as my 1-2. I personally don't like Chris Sale at Baltimore. I don't think that's a good matchup, especially at $20,000.
Yeah, it's not a great matchup. It's not a great park. Also, Chris Sale, just as great of a pitcher as he's been and some of these ridiculous outings that he's had so far this year, he has trouble with distance pitching, and Felix Hernandez has absolutely no problem.
That's true.
He can vie for a complete game at any time.
Yeah, the only one, and I'm actually surprised that neither of you said anything about Zach Greinke, but I actually faded him based on Kansas City. And I don't know about you guys, but if you haven't noticed, Kansas City, the Royals, have been the best offensive team in the past couple of weeks. They've been on fire.
And how about your other team you mentioned, Pittsburgh?
Well,
they were the hottest offensive team,
They have been
right?
good. They have been good.
Little prediction here, it's over for Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think they won 10 in a row, right?
Yep.
Which was their most since like the mid-90s or something?
Since 1943, probably. That's not true at all. I just threw that out there. It might be true, though.
I don't think that's true,
No?
No, I think it was like 94 or something.
But I agree completely with Nick. Kansas City has been better on offense enough that I'm not interested, and the fact that they strike out the lowest percentage in the league. Let's be honest, Zach Greinke is a great strikeout pitcher, but I always shy away from a team that is dead last in strikeout percentage because you need to strike out, and these guys just don't seem to be striking out.
Absolutely.
Even if you get 6 or 7 strikeouts at his price tag, that's not enough.
Yeah, obviously Lackey is just completely out of the picture on this one. Just because I think, one, Felix is pitching, heavily favored, low over-under. I mean, you really want to get the win out of these matchups, especially if you're going to pay this kind of money. And out of the 4 guys that we're looking at here in Tier 1, Seattle at home, most favored, favorable ballpark.
I mean, but that's not to say that Lackey couldn't come out and give a good performance.
He looked amazing in his last start. Amazing.
Him and John Lesser have been the only 2 consistent pitchers in this rotation.
No Dubront?
He comes out, yeah. He's been consistently bad, yeah.
There you go, consistency.
But, I mean, at $15,000, it might be worth it. I don't know. I mean, I'm leaning towards Felix. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got the matchup here in this tier. But I'm not going to shy completely away from Lackey.
And I might go with Greinke for the value.
Interesting.
I might do it. I might pull the trigger.
I'm 100% on Felix. That's where I'm sticking.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to Tier 2. We got your boy Samardzija, Lance Lynn, Alfredo Simon, Cobb, Eovaldi, Wei-Yin Chen, Gio Gonzalez, Matt Garza, and Chase Whitley. That's a lot of names and a lot of mediocrity on that list. Anywhere we're going straight off the bat that interests you?
Well, I mean, I want to say Samardzija, but Cincinnati's been really good lately. The Reds have actually come on a little bit.
Because they're starting to get healthy.
They are. Yeah. So the first name that I actually noticed was Alfredo Simon because the Cubs are bad. They are really bad.
We keep talking about this. The only problem is this game is in Chicago. There's a little bit of a split there, but not enough that I'm really all that worried about the Chicago Cubs.
Are the Cubs ever going to be good again?
Well, there's a couple of things in waiting in the wings. No, there's not really.
Yeah, I would say Theo Epstein? But he can't play.
No, I
We're
mean,
on Theo Epstein's 3 to 5 year plan.
Yeah, really.
I mean, we've said this before. They have spots in their lineup where they can get some power, they can get some run production, but it's not consistent enough top to bottom where they're actually going to be able to produce against somebody. And they just strike out a heck of a lot. I mean, I think they're approaching the top 3. If they're not, I think they're in the top 3 in strikeout percentage. Either way, they're really bad. Great to pick against. Great. Go right ahead. Alfredo Simon should be able to make value just fine tomorrow.
Yeah, it's really weird because this list has a lot of names that you normally would take on most nights. Samardzija's had bad numbers against Cincinnati. Lance Lynn's playing in Colorado. Alex Cobb's against a hot Pittsburgh team. I mean, these are guys that normally we go, okay, maybe there was some value, but just tonight, no. I can't see any value in these guys.
Well, the only other one I thought of was Nathan Eovaldi. Philadelphia, not very good either. I just don't have a ton of confidence in him as a pitcher.
And he's played them twice this year already, and he's had just okay outing. I mean, if you're spending this much money, I'd rather go a little bit down, get some value. Maybe Matt Garza. He's had really bad in his past 3 games, 6 total strikeouts.
Yeah,
6 total.
Yeah, that's not good enough. And Washington, they do have the power in their lineup. They could get some runs up on the board. I would dip down into Tier 3. I think you can find some serious value down there.
You know what? I actually completely agree. I want to talk a little bit. I mean, we're probably going to put in a top guy on Monday, right? Somebody's from this top group. So I'm assuming 1 from the top, maybe 2 from the bottom, or 1 from the top, 1 middle, and 1 bottom, which tends to happen.
Got to be looking for some value when you put in the big boys.
This is true. That's why I agree. Alfredo Simon will be my top pick from Tier 2, and he's likely going in my lineup with Felix Hernandez on Monday.
I have to agree.
Alrighty, we go into Tier 3. Not that many names, and some interesting people we're likely stacking against. Tier 3, 10,000 under is Jeremy Guthrie, Matt Cain, Edinson Volquez, Jules Chassin, Roberto Hernandez, and Marcus Stroman.
Wait a second. On Volquez, that's your guy.
Okay, you tried to goad me into picking him when I didn't like him his last outing, and he got 7 earned runs in an inning and a third.
So is it safe to say that You got lucky with a flash in a pan?
Okay, you can't say that. I liked his matchup. I picked him against the Cubs,
Yeah,
and you
you're right.
yelled at me.
No, you're right.
And now you're saying the same thing about Alfredo Simone against the Cubs. So
Well, you're
I
right.
don't want to hear it.
You're right. You're right.
You're not allowed to slam me when I make a good pick and then I shy away
I said
from
he's
him.
right, and then he just carries it on.
It seems like
just
he has
keeps going,
there's like
piles
a
it on.
prototype that he has for these picks too.
Yeah.
I do. You know, okay.
Liriano and
Hold on.
Volpez. It was like the same pick was being made almost.
Yep.
Before you guys go off on this even more, I have another prototype pick for tonight. I'm on Matt Cain.
Well, come on now. San Diego is terrible.
Yeah, I don't. This is the one name. I think he's almost a must. Really.
Yep.
Yeah, he really could be. I mean, the Padres are the worst this season, in the past month, in the past couple, anything. Any type of data that you try to pull up, they are horrible.
He's had some difficult games, but it's in San Francisco. We all know what he's capable of, and this value is absolutely killer.
Yep.
Yeah, he's around 83.52 on StarFantasyLeagues.com. He's already played San Diego once this season, 9.65 fantasy points, 8 strikeouts. Those are the numbers you absolutely want to see. If he gives you 9 fantasy points, you consider that a major win for his price tag.
Absolutely.
Poach the
that would be huge.
Padres.
What?
Poach the Padres.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you do.
Yeah, I mean, we know that they're making changes. I think they just fired their VP.
GM.
Their GM.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, so they're going to be making changes top to bottom in that organization for what, the third time in the last 3 years, or I don't know.
They've got such a nice, beautiful ballpark, though, and nobody's going and nobody's doing anything.
It's part
there.
of the cluster of teams that just rarely returns to relevance.
Although, hold on, the Pittsburgh Pirates just proved that you can come out of obscurity and be decent, and then go right back down, probably.
Well, thank you, Andrew McCutcheon, for coming out of nowhere.
The Royals have been building for quite a long time. I'll at least say that.
What are they building to?
I don't know. They have some bats.
All right, Nick, you said you liked a lot of value in this category. Other than Kane, I mean, where are you looking?
Roberto Fausto Carmona Hernandez.
Fausto Carmona Hernandez. I love it. Yeah, call him the full name.
I mean, Miami. They're one of the highest strikeout teams. They really have been terrible the past couple of weeks and months. I think it's a very safe play there. He's not going to get you – I don't think he's going to get you 10 or 12 points, but if he gets you 6, 7, yeah, I think you have a really good night out of that at 6,200.
The only problem I noticed with him is that I can't even remember the last time he pitched more than 6 innings.
Well, yeah, you're right. That's true.
It's not even because he's getting shelled. It just seems he gets to like 5 2/3 and they go, you're out.
Well,
like,
yeah, that's
out.
just I think that's a strategy a lot of managers take. They just say, you know what, we've made it this far with you, and we're okay right now. We're just gonna say
they're
it's
not
okay.
they're not gonna push the envelope.
You haven't completely crapped the bed yet, so we're not going to let you get to that point.
Thanks for getting it done this time.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so are you picking him? Are you going to go with your top?
Yeah, he'll be my value play for the
Look
two.
at that. All right, so we like Kane. You like Fausto Roberto Hernandez Carmona,
The artist formerly known as.
Exactly. All right, coming after the break, it is time for John Old's Mailbag, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
The Star Fantasy League show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
We're back, and it's time for John Old's Mailbag, and you guys can get into John Old's Mailbag by tweeting us at SFL Show if you want to have your questions read live on the radio.
We can fit all those people in the bag.
Yeah, we can. If we can fit a grown man in a cage, we can certainly fit people in a bag, right?
Right?
Sure.
Nick, you're just...
I don't know why you're stuffing people into a bag.
He likes to shake his head about the man in the cage. I don't know why. It doesn't seem like Nick likes him.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't get it.
We don't get along, okay?
Although last
Leave
week,
it at that.
Jason was here all week, and he kept saying, why isn't he getting my name right? Turns out he was feeding him. You're not supposed to feed him. That's the big mistake. We got to tell Jason after the show, don't feed him. I told him a million times.
Only the occasional saltine
Thank
cracker.
you. But then the programmers have to do that.
Right.
Yep, okay. We have to be on the same page here.
Jason always trying to show sympathy.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Little does he know how much the man in the cage enjoys his time.
Hey, he loves it. He loves being a part of the Star Fantasy League show, and I'm sure you listeners do as well. Tweet us at SFL Show. You can be part of the conversation. I love it. But actually, we do have a big week going on the Star Fantasy League show. The NBA draft is Thursday, one of my favorite days of the year. Zach, I know it is yours as well.
I can't wait.
But we have
there's something else big going on Thursday too, which is occupying my mind quite heavily.
You mean the World Cup?
Yeah, the World Cup.
Oh, I was going to say that we have Doug Gottlieb on the show on Thursday to talk NBA draft instead of General's Mailbag.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So he's actually on before this show in Rochester, and we kind of come on afterwards. But he's kind enough to join us after his show's over.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to Doug and getting some knowledge bestowed upon us.
Yep, but that doesn't come up until Thursday, so we got a couple days. If you want to send us in your questions for Doug Gottlieb, talking NBA draft, tweet us at SFL Show. But for now, it's our mailbag.
Let's take it over.
It has my name, but you know what? It is our mailbag.
That's one of the nicest things he's ever said.
And don't ever mention it again. Nope.
We won't hear it again.
Exactly. All right, let's get into it. Andrew J. writes, Team USA was stunned when they allowed a last-minute goal to Portugal in stoppage time for the draw. While they still control their own destiny, will the pressure be too much for the Americans?
I've actually been kind of toying with the idea that maybe this was a good thing.
Oh, how is that a good? We would have already been moved on.
Yeah, that's fine, but then we might have gotten a little bit too big of a head. Might have gotten full of ourselves.
Well, we're Americans. We already have too big of a head.
Okay, but not in soccer.
That's
for sure.
I don't. Listen, when we scored that tying goal, I was elated, and I was thinking if this game, I would love to get another goal. We did, but if this game ends up being 1-1, and if we were to have 4 points going into the final game in the shape that we're in, with both of the other teams below us having only 1 point, controlling our destiny, and also some situations where we can still lose and move on. Several situations, actually.
You know what? Let's.
It's great. It's good. We're in good shape.
I would say before we discuss it, let's actually go over all of the scenarios because there aren't that many. We're tied with Germany right now, 4 points apiece. Portugal and Ghana have 1. Basically, if we win, we're in. If we tie, we're in. If we lose and the winner of Portugal-Ghana has a better goal differential than we do, then we're out. But basically, we're rooting for Portugal in the other game because I think they have a -4 point differential.
Yeah, well, they got crushed by Germany.
Exactly. So if they beat Ghana, it's almost impossible for us to lose on goal differential unless Germany kills us.
I mean, I don't know. I think the U.S. men's team is just going to completely ignore the other game because I think that's something they've done really well so far. They've kind of focused on what can we do, what do we need to do coming into this game.
Yeah, they have to.
They have to. And I think that they do have a shot. They absolutely have a shot at beating Germany. It is not going to be easy. It's not going to be pretty. They're going to have to get a bounce or two going their way. And the other thing they need to do is they need to shore up on defense because I think they did a pretty poor job.
Speaking of bounces, let's talk about the first goal. Couldn't clear the ball, had no idea how to get it out of their own.
It rolled off his foot.
It was
really
a
bad.
terrible miss.
Yeah.
You got to get that out. It was very unfortunate. I mean, it was he just missed the ball.
Yep.
And it was a tough way to start. They bounced back. They dictated the majority of the first half after that play occurred. They played great in the second half. They played better than they did against Ghana, I think. And
they deserved to win that game.
Yeah, sometimes it just happens. World Cup soccer especially, you see teams that outplay each other and just don't end up with the result that they want. But they played so well. They're showing improvement. They went into a tough environment, which is dictated a lot by the fact that a lot of the upper teams are getting much more favorable travel and locations to play.
That's true.
Yep.
I mean, to feed off of that, though, to the fact that they came back in this game to take the lead, I think that's the mentality that the U.S. team needs to have. They have to have that. And that's why I think it's okay. Yeah, they let it down in the very last second. Yeah, that was a heartbreaker. But their response after the game, we still got a point out of it. We still played really well. We controlled the game. I think that's the mentality that's going to carry them into a good situation versus Germany instead of a one that they just don't have a shot.
And it's hard for me to see this being more than a 3-goal game total because both of these teams, nobody's going to be pushing the attack heavily. Both teams would be content if it ended up in a tie. Germany would get the 1 seed. USA would get the 2 seed. And one of the benefits in being in such a difficult group is that if we are able to move on, our matchups will be much better than what it'll be for some of the other easier groups.
We'll see what happens.
It's not like we have to play Brazil next round or anything like that.
No, we do not. But, man, this game was crazy. Tim Howard is an absolute maniac in that. Imagine if we didn't have one of the best goaltenders in the world, how this team would be. We would have let up like 4 goals in that game.
That save that he made where he was falling backwards and bounced up and swatted it with his left hand was unreal.
That's the save of the tournament.
I was so impressed with the performance, especially after everything with Altidore, how Dempsey was able to bounce back after his injury. It's been a really spirited performance, even in both games, even though the Ghana game wasn't as good. Proud of our boys, and I think we're going to get through.
Well,
Go USA!
We got plenty of time to talk about this until the next match. We're going to talk about Klinsmann's interesting post-game comments. I'm sure we'll get into that either tomorrow or Wednesday. But we're moving on. Michael M. writes, Carmelo Anthony officially opted out of his contract with the Knicks and will become an unrestricted free agent. Where do you see Melo ending up next season? He's out.
No. I'm deferring on this one.
You don't want to go out on a limb, Nick, and pick his new destination.
Why? I don't know. I mean, I have enough opinions about Carmelo himself. I don't know if I'm going to go throwing out where he
tread lightly.
might land. Why?
Don't you dare talk poorly.
Play defense then. I'll tread lightly when he plays defense.
Hey, he won Syracuse their only national championship. He could play zero defense, and I wouldn't care.
Yeah, thanks to Hakeem the Dream.
All right, here's what I think.
Wrong Hakeem, but okay.
Warwick.
Yes, I know Hack Warwick as you're talking about.
I can see him very well landing in Chicago. And here is the reason for that. First of all, there's been talk about Houston really pushing to get him.
Terrible.
But it's a terrible situation for him, I think. This is a team that likes to get out and run.
Well, and they're a bunch of ball. Like, Dwight Howard, to be a viable option on offense, needs the ball to run through him. Okay, you want to share the ball between Dwight, James Harden, and Carmelo? They can't all have the ball.
No, there's no way this team could be successful, I don't think. Carmelo really wants to set himself up for a chance to get to the finals, and I think the Bulls are the best for that, not only because they have such a great, if healthy, point guard, but they are a half-court offense, and that is perfect for Carmelo. That caters to the way that he plays.
You forgot the biggest point there in staying in Chicago. It's in the East. It'll be between 3 or 4 teams to get to the finals instead of 9 to 10 teams.
And also Luol Deng is gone. I mean, that is over. There is a position to be filled there.
Yeah, how smart was that now? Him getting rid of Luol Deng and then kind of shedding some salary. Boozer's likely gone. They could honestly have enough money for him and another piece.
I think they're one of the best teams that can make a run at this. And I think for how they're built, what they need on their team is that extra piece of offense. That is what they need.
Yeah. So there's no chance that Miami lands him.
No,
we're not saying.
I'm just not even willing to talk about it.
I know
okay.
We had a question before that I kept moving on from where they said they wanted to form some Big Four deal. You like the idea, Nick, but I think it makes no sense.
Well, I honestly think it's completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay. Money aside, it would be a good. I know it's not possible, but if money didn't matter, then I think that would be a pretty good fit for him because the ball would not be in his hands.
He needs the ball in his hands.
No, he does not. He's a spot-up shooter. He will hang out around the three-point line, and he will shoot. That's all he needs to do. He doesn't need the ball in his hands.
No one told him that.
He doesn't drive the lane, not like LeBron does. He doesn't do it as much as many of the other scorers in the league. He likes to stand outside at the three-point line and shoot.
But he's still a guy that works to create his own shot.
He can post up.
His outside play is pretty similar to Kevin Durant, who we know needs the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, but at the same time, how many times have you seen Carmelo? He just dribbles 1, 2, 3, shot. That's it. There's no creating of a shot. I'd say he does that more often than he does drive the lane or make a move on the outside using a pick and roll, something like that. I don't know. I feel like that could have been a good situation. Obviously, the fact that money does play a role in this makes it very difficult for that to happen.
There's no way that the team would be worse if they got Carmelo.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a ridiculous all-star team if they get Carmelo, but the pay cuts that will have to be taken, not knowing what's going on with LeBron. I mean, it's.
Well, and to go off of that, the pay cut, LeBron James is not going to take a pay cut now. He did it once.
Yeah,
he's not going to take another pay cut, especially when Dwayne Wade played half the season on the bench, and he had to carry the team throughout the entire season.
Yeah, let's see if Dwayne Wade is really the head of the team that they claimed he was when LeBron joined him there, and he actually says, you know what, I'm the core of this team. I'll take less money to keep this team together.
Well, yeah, that would be the one way they could get it done.
He could do it. I don't think Bosch does. Bosch deserves more money than he's got.
I think LeBron could really improve the play of the rest of his players if he starts making better pregame speeches.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Other than just being like, let's play Miami Heat basketball. Let's play Miami Heat offense. I mean, couldn't they have had Ray Allen or somebody talk?
It's not like
that's what he says.
That's
like every time.
That's embarrassing.
Let's do it. Let's put it all out there.
Spoke and actually he can speak. Spo's a pretty smart guy. He can't inspire LeBron to, the basketball.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I think LeBron is very eloquent. I'm just saying these speeches that I've heard in the huddle.
Well, he doesn't speak with a college-educated mind.
Ooh, wow. Shots fired at LeBron James.
Sorry. That's true.
He
doesn't.
It's not untrue.
I think that his ability to talk in front of the media has improved significantly over the past few years.
I think that's going to happen if you do that every single day for 10 years.
Kobe Bryant also doesn't have a college education, but he is an absolute boss.
He's worldly. Kobe Bryant is a worldly gentleman. Spent a lot of time in Italy. That might have something to do with it.
He's a stud.
Okay.
Oh, how did you get
Was
to
that
this?
what we're doing now? You're just going to – he's a stud.
Yes, let's list every player in the NBA and if they're a stud or not. Russell Westbrook.
No.
Really? After he dresses
No, I don't.
like a
I don't
ridiculous-
like his outfits,
Yeah,
and I don't like his Subway commercials.
Wow. We got shots fired. Shots fired at LeBron James. Shots fired at Russell Westbrook. That's what we do in Giles Mailbag.
Sometimes things get tense.
They do. They get tense, but we're going to lighten it up a little bit after the break. We are talking Major League Baseball for Tuesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. All the plays of the day, all the breakdowns, everything you need. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on 105.5 The Team.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at StarFantasyLeagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League Show with Donald, Teddy Bear 2, and the Deucey Moose. Only on the Team.
Look at that. First day back, Zach, and he actually got your nickname right.
Isn't that nice?
I think he missed you.
Nick, I just need to ask a quick follow-up question here.
Oh, great.
I have to. Who do you think, what would be an ideal team that is reasonable for LeBron to go to that would be better than Miami?
Wait, an ideal team for him? He can go wherever he wants.
No, a team with a better chance for him to win on. So, like, if he's actually going to leave Miami, where could he go that is, like in terms of pay grade, that he would get the money that he deserves and also be in a better situation?
I'd have to put a lot of thought into that, but I guess you could say you could bring up a couple of different teams. I think he could go to the Lakers and have a great situation there. The Lakers would have the money to pay for him.
I have a really interesting out-of-the-box idea for him. Phoenix. Phoenix has some interesting young pieces there. I think they're missing a small forward / power forward. I think that's the perfect situation for him if he wants to long term.
If you're asking me where he needs to go in order to win another championship, he can go wherever he wants. He's the best basketball player in the world. He really can, and that's why I thought he should have stayed in Cleveland in the first place, because it didn't matter who was around him. He was going to make everybody around him better. Well, he is clearly the number one player on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
But don't you think that? Then how did he not win this year?
Oh,
really? They went up against one of the best shooting performances in the history of the game.
It was the best.
The best shooting performance.
I just think the East is going to continue to get better, and if he goes somewhere that they need to build around him again, he's not going to win next year.
No, he should have stayed in Cleveland the first time.
All right, we got to get on. It's too much LeBron talk. LeBron all the time. LeBron in Phoenix would be the worst idea ever. I think it'd be funny though.
As much as we complain about the constant LeBron coverage, it's hard not to talk about him.
Yes, this is true. Damn you, media! Oh, we're part of the issue. Great. We're not making it any
adding
better.
fuel to the fire.
All right, we got to get to MLB Tuesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. We got a full 15-game slate, which means we have 30 MLB teams to talk about. But we are discussing stacks first, and that is when you put in anywhere from 2 to 4 players from one offense in, because you don't like an opposing pitcher. That's usually what it is. 4 is the maximum. I'm going straight to it. Wade Miley is starting on Tuesday, but I hate to say it, he's really looking a lot better.
I can't confidently pick against him anymore. I know the Indians aren't that great versus left-handed pitchers.
Can I get a little Miley credit here, please?
Why? You called him? You picked him last time?
I touted him on multiple shows. I said, don't go past Wade Miley.
Yeah, we did have Derek Montilla from the Sports Cave in Phoenix on to talk specifically about Wade Miley, and he said he hasn't been that bad.
I boost up Wade Miley. I boost down Drew Smiley.
All right, you know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm looking to stack in this game, but it isn't against Wade Miley. It's against Justin Masterson, especially in Arizona. Man, he has just been a shell of himself. He looked good for, his first year and a half, 2 years in
But Justin
Cleveland.
Masterson can be such a fantasy jerk.
Well, yeah, because he shows up and has a
decent
all
of a sudden he gets 8 Ks and allows a 4-hitter.
But let's be honest.
Where did that come from?
The Diamondbacks in the month of June are, I think, the 7th best offense so far. So they've actually been
dropping.
Yeah, I don't like them anymore.
No?
They dropped right off. They have. They've dropped right off, John.
They were right near the top for the first 2 weeks.
They had a good little stretch there, but they dropped right off. I don't know.
I'm honestly against Justin Masterson. I'm gonna go. I said out of the box.
I think that could work to your benefit.
I think I'm still gonna go there because you are saving a lot of money with a lot of these guys outside of Goldschmidt because he is still expensive, around $9,500. But Montero, you can save some money. He's under 7. Gregorius is around 6, and you got Parra in there as well. These are all lefty hitters outside of Goldschmidt. Justin Masterson has been really, really bad this season against lefties specifically. So I think if you put in 2 or 3 of those lefties in your lineup, you get a lot of value and you can surprise people.
Fair enough. This could be a good night for you, but I just got to caution you. Don't hang on to the dream for too long.
It's not the dream. I like saving money on out-of-the-box stacks. I've said it almost every show. I go with these weird out-of-the-box ideas. It doesn't mean put in 4 of these guys. It means maybe 1 or 2. See how it does for you.
He's sneaky.
He's sneaky.
You know what? I might be sneaky. You guys might not agree with it, but people get to hear every single side of the argument, right?
True enough.
Right, that's true, and it's good to take some risks once in a while.
There's 2 over-unders that are, I think, 10 and above, right? We got a 10 and we got an 11 for Tuesday. So I'm assuming some stacks are going to come from those games.
Is that the White Sox-Baltimore game or no?
Detroit, Texas is 10,
then
the 11 is St. Louis, Colorado.
Well, I love Detroit because Lewis is really bad. Colby Lewis is really bad.
Correct.
So, you can go right ahead and stack away on them. Your boy J.D. Martinez is on fire right now.
I know. I'm so depressed. I had him as my value player of the day last week, and then they ended up switching out starting pitchers so that he was facing what? I forget who. It was some big name.
I don't remember.
So I took him out.
He's really been coming on.
I think he's gone. I think his price tag is just
it's skyrocketed.
Yeah. It has. It's unbelievable. But, you can safely stack pretty much the entire top of that order.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Colby Lewis, I feel like this is a guy that at one point Texas had a lot more hope for, and he's just never lived up to the billing. And he just kind of sputters along, and against big bats, he has a lot of trouble. Detroit starting to get hot again right now.
They have an abundance of big bats as well. If you're looking to put in some power for some home runs, Miguel Cabrera, obviously. Victor Martinez, obviously. It's do you have the money? We're going to talk about pitchers in a few minutes, but can you finagle your lineup so you can get in these big bats?
Right, to put in all those big guys. But there are some pitchers that you can look at tomorrow that definitely have some reasonable value. It just depends on which route you want to take. But Detroit stack with maybe a couple risky pitchers, I think would be a great tournament play for tomorrow.
Yeah, you need to get these 7 to 10 plus outings from your hitters, or else it doesn't matter how many numbers your pitchers get. You could just be sunk in the water.
Detroit, they just need to get their pitching in line, and they'll be right back at the top of the AL.
Yeah, don't even bring it up because
I don't even want to talk about Justin Verlander right now.
He's fuming, I could tell. All right, where else are we going for some stacks? Like I mentioned, just a lot of big numbers on the board.
Well, what was the other one? That was a Colorado game? Was the other big
Colorado,
number?
St. Louis.
Okay, well, the other game that I was looking at is the White Sox versus the Orioles because Quintana and Gonzalez are both good pitchers to pick against, and I think both teams could put up some runs. I think the over-under is 9 or 9.5.
It's 9.
So it's fair enough.
There's a lot of over-unders over 9, which is enormous.
And the reason that I think you should really look at these is because you can find some value batters in there on both sides of the ball. Alejandro De Aza and J.J. Hardy for Baltimore, both of those guys are really low price. I think they're a little bit of a roll of the dice, but I think that you can at least throw them in there so that you can get big bats in like Nelson Cruz and Adam Jones or Jose Abreu. If you can get Jose Abreu.
It seems like not a bad double-up type scenario if you stack this whole game.
Yeah.
I think that some of the higher over-unders looking at like the Yankees game, yes, it's in Toronto, but it makes me a little nervous. And if I were to stack both teams in that game, I would be a little shaky on it. I think that with Quintana and Gonzalez going, I think there's a decent opportunity in Camden Yards to take bats on both sides of the plate there.
Definitely.
Yeah, in that other game we just talked about, St. Louis, Colorado, I'm assuming everybody's going to go for Colorado, even though Shelby Miller hasn't been that bad at all by any means. And they're just too expensive. I mean, the lowest guy that I actually am interested on this team is probably Dickerson, and he's right around 8.
I mean, yeah, he's another one that shot up.
Yeah.
I mean, he was down. I think he was minimum value or minimum salary at one point.
He was close.
Yeah, he took his opportunity and ran with it.
Yeah, that's the problem. You're spending so much money to get a couple of these guys, but we can't ignore Tulowitzki just absolutely dominant against righties, 436 weighted on base average, and he's at home where he absolutely crushes the ball. So can you fade him? Maybe, probably.
Only based on price.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I think it's important when you look at these teams that have such high prices. through the whole top to middle of the order to make sure that you're picking those power guys and shy away from the guys that aren't going to get you power. Because if you're spending upper 8,000, 9,000 on a guy that, yes, has gotten a lot of fantasy points, but can't hit for power, you could easily get in trouble.
That is true. On the other side, I'm actually more interested on the other side of the ball in St. Louis. Matt Adams, Carpenter, and Holiday, I think they could all have some decent value because they're all around the 6,000 to 7,000 mark, and you're saving a ton of money.
They're 27th versus left-handed pitching. I don't know. I mean, Jorge De La Rosa is nothing to be really excited about. They don't strike out a ton.
Isn't De La Rosa a righty, though? I think he's a righty.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be the other way. No, because actually...
I don't think he... All right, we'll look that up because I thought he was a lefty. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's a left-handed pitcher. And if that's the case, then the Cardinals, I don't really like them that much.
If that is the case, I will eat my shoe and be wrong.
He's going to eat his shoe?
Yeah.
All right, we got to find out. Let's go.
Those are nice shoes, too.
I know, I like my shoes. All right, we got to talk about pitchers. There's a lot of interesting value guys we're talking about. We got Heaney, this little rookie guy, just made his major league debut for Miami going against Philadelphia. Had a decent debut, 6 innings pitched.
Yeah, he had it stolen away from him by our boy Zach Wheeler, but he did have a really nice outing. It was good.
He's still basically going to be around the minimum. Are we interested in him?
I like the other side of that, David Buchanan, because Miami's bad. Miami is bad. Just pick against them.
He's getting fired up.
Yeah, that is true.
No, I'm not. That was a happy excitement in my voice.
That was enthusiasm?
Yeah, it was
okay.
true. Yeah.
All right. Well, you can be enthusiastically fired up.
That's true. I am really enthusiastic.
Yes.
Buchanan.
Yeah. Yes, you are. Another guy that I really like his matchup, but I don't like him in general, is Scott Feldman.
You just think he's a bad person?
No. I
don't like him in general.
Scott Feldman confuses me. Just his numbers look really kind of – they are what they are. He's 3.95 ERA. It's just that's what he is.
Yeah.
Low strikeout rate. I mean, but he is going against Atlanta. They're terrible against righties. That's a thing we always look at, but when the pitcher is not good like this – I'm less apt to go out on a limb and pick up.
Yeah, I like the other side on Aaron Harang because I think Houston's kind of started to fall off. I think they're coming back to earth a little bit. And, I mean, he's had his ups and his downs, but at $11,000, that's kind of one of the lower price tags we've seen on him.
Yeah.
Could be worth the value.
And we did talk about Wade Miley, around $10,000 against Cleveland.
Smiley.
Frowny.
Oh.
Frowny. How dare you? They're not good against lefties. 26th in the league. They strike out around an average clip. So, I mean, Wade Miley's going on a little bit of a limb. He's more expensive than I'd be interested in.
I think the real question here is, will Drew Smiley and Wade Miley ever have their star-studded matchup?
Smiley Miley?
Smiley Miley.
No.
Smiley v. Miley.
But seriously, let's get to some of the bigger guys. Who are you interested in? I have 6 guys listed that are actual guys I'm interested in picking.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch out there. I think one of my favorites is C.J. Wilson. I love him against the Twins. They strike out 7th most against left-handed pitchers. What, did I steal your pick?
Yep, that would be my play of the day.
I'm sorry. All right, well, yeah, then we agree. I mean, this is a great matchup for him. I think he's going to have a ton of strikeouts tomorrow. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You look at it on paper, play in Minnesota at home. C.J. Wilson's been much better at home, especially. I think it's one of the strongest matchups on the board for Tuesday.
I think you're right. I'm going to go with Clayton Kershaw.
What a surprise, Clayton Kershaw.
I know
no
this
way.
is shocking, I know. But I think that there are so many high over-unders tomorrow that I'm going to be able to put together some good, affordable stacks that allows me to get a pitcher of that price in.
You want to pick against Kansas City right now, don't you?
I am, yeah. I do. I think they're about to go on a little dud streak.
You're going to catch them right on the
right on the down curve.
All right. Okay. I mean, I can see it happening. Don't get me wrong. Everything that they've done lately, everything they've done lately has been really good. So
other guys I would consider taking a look at is Tim Hudson, Yvonne Gallardo, Homer Bailey. I mean,
definitely Hudson
and Scott Kazmir as well.
Yeah.
These are a lot. There are a lot of interesting matchups. This is one of those days. I like a lot of hitters, but I also like a lot of pitchers. So a lot to look at. We tried to help you decipher. Tomorrow we're going to decipher our lineups 2 hours before it starts, so you got plenty of time to put these guys in and figure all of it out. And come out of the break, we're giving you all of our top plays for Tuesday. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
You may not be able to understand me because I'm currently eating my shoe. Jorge De La Rosa correctly is a lefty.
You're not actually doing it. I'd like to see you take a bite out of your shoe.
You are lying. The shoe is in my mouth. I am chewing on it. I just have a really good radio voice.
I think he's just chewing an old shoelace.
There you go.
I would like to take a picture of this.
No, that's
So
just weird.
please
I'm not
put
wearing a
the
dress.
shoe
I'm not
in
wearing.
your
I'm
mouth.
not eating a
We can
shoe.
post it on Twitter.
No, you guys are weird.
Bite your shoe.
Eat your shorts.
Man, what is this, like a Nickelodeon throwback day? You just mentioned Doug Funny, too?
Eat my shorts.
Wow. All right, we got to get into the top plays for Tuesday. We got a lot of them. We got a top hitter, top pitcher. We got a value play, and we got a stack for you. We got a lot of information to help you make the best team on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Zach, stars off.
Yeah, so I know I talked about how I'm going to be playing Clayton Kershaw, but I'm still going to do my Tiger stack because it's my favorite stack. Doesn't mean I'll necessarily choose it. I'm going to look at all the angles tomorrow.
You're a homer.
But, yeah, I am a homer. And I'm choosing Miguel Cabrera, who is still sitting right around the mid-9,000s. And I think that the guys that you're looking at, I mean, with his matchup tomorrow, he's as good as anybody that is over 10,000. He's hot right now. He's playing like a guy that is primed to take that first base start in the All-Star game, which he deserves, as far as I'm concerned.
Of course.
And, so I'm going with the Tigers. Pitching, Clayton Kershaw, as Nick mentioned, I also love Tim Hudson. I think that although he's not the big strikeout guy against San Diego, I think he could definitely post some big numbers.
Yep, no bats.
And I mentioned that I really like that Chicago-Baltimore game. J.J. Hardy's sitting right there at 5,000 for me. I think there's a good opportunity to snag up some value there.
Perfect. Nick, let's continue this train.
All right, I am going to go with my play of the day as Mike Trout because I love his matchup against Kyle Gibson from Minnesota. And big bat there, I think you can stack that entire lineup. Albert Pujols, Cole Calhoun, and Eric Ibar. Although Ibar's not hitting as well as the other three lately, so a little caution.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Are you sticking with your C.J. Wilson pitcher pick?
I am sticking with my C.J. Wilson pick.
Okay.
And for value, I wanted to say J.D. Martinez, but that's not really value anymore.
Nope.
So I'll throw Cole Calhoun in there. He's under 7,000. That should be value enough.
Perfect. And your stack is what?
The Angels.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, I'm gonna call an audible here on the show. I did have Miguel Cabrera as my top pick. You went with Detroit, so I'm not gonna mention V-Mart. I'm gonna go with Jose Abreu for Chicago. You talked me into this whole Baltimore thing. Miguel Gonzalez just not good. This game is in Baltimore. I think you could see some pop out of Jose Abreu.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw number 22 or 23.
I hope we're not suffering from a little group think here.
No, that's fine. That's what you need. You need to talk through some of these things, get on the same page. That's how you make your best decision. You don't want to look at something and have absolutely no second opinion.
But make sure to trust your first
instincts.
your first opinion is what matters.
Well, my first instinct was to pick C.J. Wilson or Clayton Kershaw, and you took both of them. So Tim Hudson is my guy. Love Tim Hudson tomorrow. I think he can get some, like you said, good numbers against San Diego.
You know, sometimes I'll be sitting in my office creating my lineup, feeling real good about it. Jason, who you guys heard from a lot last week, will walk by, tell me something about my lineup. I'll change it, and then I'll try to kill him.
Yep, that tends to happen. My value play is coming from that Arizona lineup. I like Gerardo Parra a lot. He's just under 6,000 right now going against Justin Masterson at home. I think you can get value out of any of those guys, Montero, Gregorius, or Parra, all around the same price. And out of the box, I'm going with that Arizona stack for my stack of the day. How do you like that?
Did you just choose DD because you like his name?
He's been playing fairly well for inexpensive money.
I was just wondering. I know how you like to choose names that you like. I think
They're falling off.
So that's the vibe I'm getting.
You know what the most depressing thing is? Don Roach is no longer pitching. We can't make fun of 2N.
He's
2N Don.
He's not even in the pen.
No, I don't think so.
He's gone. He's just gone.
You know what? He's gone. But you know what?
I told you.
You know what isn't gone? Value on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Tweet us at SFL Show. $5 free in your account. Thousands of dollars in guaranteed prize pools every day. Zach, we are very, very happy to have you back.
It is great to be back. You know I love you guys. I love the show.
So cute.
And
That's so cute.
can't wait to argue tomorrow.
All right, and if you guys are upset that Wade Miley's not being Wade Frowny, I don't know what to tell you. Take it easy, guys.